Hello, please meet today's guest, Zulfiya Forsythe.
You need to get education something practical if you don't want to mop the floors. And when I was a kid, I liked to draw a lot. I would be drawing things like clothes, designer clothes. I would have interest in interior design. I would have these visions. But my mom said, you need to get something practical or you're not going to have a job. So that's why I chose accounting. And then I thought, if I choose this path, I gotta go all in, become a CPA and then try to get into these big four, but then things didn't work out. And I'm happy they didn't work out because now I kind of figured out what I really like to do.
Picture this. A young woman from a small town in Uzbekistan sends college applications across America without the required application fees because she's never even seen a $100 bill. One school not only accepts her, but gives her a full scholarship. Fast forward to today, and she's running an AI company, helping construction businesses automate their operations and scale without massive teams. This is Zulfiya Forsythe's story, from dreaming of working at the big four accounting firms to discovering her true passion lay in solving problems through automation and AI. What started as weekend experiments with Visual Basic to automate repetitive accounting tasks has evolved into Omadli Group, where she's building AI agents that act as virtual employees for busy business owners. But here's what makes this conversation special. Zulfiya shares the critical mistake that nearly derailed her progress, and it's one that 90% of startup founders make. If you're building a service-based business or considering the leap from employee to entrepreneur, you'll want to hear how she learned to fail fast, market fearlessly, and turned her immigrant grit into startup gold. I'm Jothy Rosenberg, and this is Designing Successful Startups. Let's dive in. And please welcome Zulfiya to the podcast. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Jothy. I'm happy to be here.
Context setting. Tell us where you're originally from and where you live now.
Absolutely. I'm originally from Uzbekistan. I came here in 2006 to study in Orange City, Iowa, study accounting. And now I live in Burlington, Massachusetts.
How come you have such a light accent? It's almost imperceptible.
Thank you so much. I think it helped that I migrated first to Midwest and due to, being surrounded by native speakers 24/7, I think that like in a smaller town there's not much diversity. So like say not many say ethnic groups like that might say my native language or even speak like Russian. It helped me to assimilate faster, I would say, and it also helped me to learn like perfect my English faster as well. So I didn't get to hang out with my comfort group, let's say. Let's put it that way. When we were a little, me and my brother would always love to make different accents, like or just imitate people. It was just something we did to entertain our family members. So they yeah, we loved different languages and yeah, it was just something fun to do.
So do you go back to Uzbekistan
Yes. Yes.
frequently, like once a year or something? What?
Yes, that's the goal. That's the entire reason why I started my professional business journey, started my company, because when I worked at the corporate, it was really hard to take time off and see my family. First of all, the flight is too long, and then you have a couple of weeks vacation. It's just that half of your vacation goes into the travel time. And when I had this dream to work for myself and kind of work remotely from anywhere that I want in the world and work with people that I want to work with projects that I want to work on. And it's just that kind of inspired me to start my business. And now I get to actually spend my time with my parents. Every year I'm spent about a month plus, and it's really incredible to see them and see my kids also get to know their parents, my parents as well.
When you came over to Iowa, what were you studying there?
When I was in Uzbekistan, I had a dream to study abroad. I'm a very visionary person. Is I would picture myself sitting in the green lawn among other students from all over the world, learning and just, soaking up all that knowledge. And I started applying to different colleges, and my background is in accounting. So I studied accounting in Orange City, Iowa. Yeah, and actually I have a funny story I find me. So back in then, olden days, right now we have AI, we have, smartphones, like internet is on our fingertips, right? Back back in 2005, 2004, especially back in Uzbekistan, like I remember internet is something you had to pay for. So you had to go to the internet cafes because not everybody had that even in their households. And you have to pay money to use it. So I'll go in these, and then usually we're in some type of like a basement setting where a lot of young boys would just sit there and like play Counter-Strike, for example, because not a lot of people had computers as well. So I will go pay for the internet, and while everybody's sitting in a dark room, literally like all pitch black, everybody's playing like Counter Strike. I'm applying for colleges all across the United States. I have no idea where I'm going. I want to study in county in your school. Please accept me. And I sent out so many packages. I remember at that time they would also require admission fees, but I had no money for the admission fee. So I'll just, have all my at that time, I also graduated from local accounting, from local institute, university. So I would just send all my transcripts and my essays. And one magic day, I opened that email, that dark basement, and I got acceptance letter. So that was very exciting for me.
Are you saying that you didn't have the money, so you would send these applications in and wouldn't send the money? And
Yes, I would not send the application fee because I was just like, well, I don't have that. It's like, I remember that time it was like $25, $20. But I haven't, in that time, I haven't even seen dollars probably I haven't even probably, I could count handful times where I actually hold like a $5 bill in my hand. Like I wouldn't even know how $100 bill would look like.
so this school in Iowa was so interested in you that they waived the application fee
Yeah.
and gave you the acceptance. That's just
Yeah, they were offering me
fantastic.
scholarship as well. So they gave me scholarship, they waived the fee, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Like, actually, funny part. So everybody came in to say bye to me at the airport, and I have a really big family. My grandma was there as well. I was just crying my eyes out. I was only 21 years old, so I was just, I've never gone anywhere. I had 2 bags of basically 2 luggages. That's it. I've never gone so far away from my parents. So I remember still crying on that plane, and the gentleman next to me is like, "Why are you crying?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going, I'm leaving my parents and my family, and I'm going abroad to study. Where are you going?" Iowa. He's like, "What do you need to be crying about? Do you even know where you're going?" No question.
That was not nice of him to say.
Was like, cornfields and nothing else there. Oh my geez. Like he was just like, I didn't really pay attention to it. I kept kind of like, I was, but Orange City, Iowa was perfect for me. I'm from Uzbekistan, like a small, grew up in the outskirts of capital city. So I think if I end up in a larger city, would have been a lot more culture shock already for me. But Orange City is a small town, super friendly. When people pass you by, they say hi to you. They try to get to know you. The college was excellent. I think there were only like 1,500 people, 1,500 students on campus. So the rooms were much smaller. The professors were much more dedicated. And it's just like, it was a great community. And I think it was perfect.
Was it grad school?
It was, no, I did another bachelor's degree in accounting. So I transferred my credit from my initial university and I finished it in 2.5 years. That way. So I've double 2 degrees in accounting.
Okay, so building on that, what and when did an idea for how to significantly improve the field that you were now the proud holder of 2 degrees in? There was something that made you figure out how to do things in a better way.
No,
And what was that? And when was that?
absolutely. So I thought, I had this big dream coming to America. I remember that I would work for big four companies. That was my big dream. I'll become a certified public accountant and I will work for, renowned big four companies. I'll have my corner office. And I thought that would feel like, I made it here. I did not make it to big four. Big four,
Deloitte.
Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst& Young, PwC. I did not make it. I did not make the cut. So I was very disappointed in myself. I just finished my CPA and I was working in corporate finance field, the corporate accounting. I'd say even precise the corporate accounting. And I just remember that I will look at my processes, like bank reconciliations or month-end close, and I would see how repetitive they are. And I would spend the weekends and the evenings trying to automate the process, trying to figure out, okay, well, I've been doing this every month. There must be a better way. Why am I doing this every month? How can I make it better? And this is where I started kind of, tinkering of Visual Basic code a little bit there and trying to, at that time, there's no AI, right? You only
Right.
have,
Right.
you have YouTube, you have Google, and then you have forums, Stack Flow forum, for example, where you can just dummy down your question, like for example, create a scenario that you're trying to solve with dummy data, and then hope that somebody will answer it. And it was like magic. It's like a Christmas every day. You put out there the problem, and you put your solution out there, and then you wait. When you wake up in the morning, somebody will give you some advice or some type of direction or solution and tell you, okay, well, this is what you're not doing right. This is what you're doing. There's so many people that help. It just everyone, like, hey, what's up? Like, what's the fix? What's the fix? Right. So then I started kind of seeing what IT department folks are doing. And I started seeing how they just press F5 button. And I'm like, what is this F5 button? And the code runs and all of a sudden it executes and it gives them information. I'm like, I need to learn that. I would like to get around that. So at that time, I started applying for even like financial analyst jobs. And I kid you not, there's so many people that told me, sorry, you're an accountant. You don't qualify. This is a analytical job. You know, you an accountant. Your resume doesn't say that. But like, I can do this stuff. Like, just give me a chance. I know I can analyze things. I can streamline things. But then my CFO saw that, and I have a huge thank you for him. Huge thank you. I started talking to him. I was like, how can I get to the IT department? Kind of become that on a back end. Like, if the data gets in the system, why do we retrieve the data, manipulate it each time? Why can't we just have it out in the way that we want it, basically? That was my kind of like, aha. And then after that, yeah, so the CA4 was amazing because he saw my potential. He saw my interest into automating things. And then I started talking to BPO IT, and then he's like, come over here. Remember that moment too. Is like, take a look at this. And he just presses one button. All of a sudden, all that information gets processed and boom, refreshes the dashboard. I was like, how do you do this? Millions of rows just got processed in like seconds. All of a sudden, everything got fresh. I want to know this. I want to learn this.
Was he in Excel when he did this?
Output, he was using Excel. So the IT VP was using database. So he was using basically code, like a SQL code. He put together a code set. And then
Got
the
it.
report was in Excel. The dashboard were refreshing in Excel. And I believe it was Excel. But for me, it was like, wow, like, how's that happening? You know, I want to learn this. And I got a great opportunity to do career switch. So I moved into IT department. My CFO completely supported me and gave me the opportunity from zero to join IT department. So I become, at that time, I was working for a senior care facility. And I was pulling the data from Yardi. Yardi Voyager is one of the softwares, very famous software in real estate management and senior care living management space. I kind of switched from being the end user to becoming a system user of the software. So I started learning or working on the back end of the system. So when people say, hey, my report is not working, I would be the one like fixing the bugs, looking at the code that's running, that putting together that report, for example. So I become kind of like a system, almost like a business system analyst for that Yardi. So that gave me opportunity to learn that system very well. They gave me opportunity to sit integrate the code, I would spend my weekends, evenings, and my commute time listening to like on YouTube, structured query language, you know, how to put together data sets and what is inner join and full join, and basically how to query the database, you know, how to write great statements. Like and I loved it. I remember my coworker told me that, and given that I came from zero, so I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity. And from then on, I just knew that this is my passion. This is what I love doing. I spend hours, and it doesn't feel like hours.
You'd had no programming exposure at all back in Uzbekistan.
I was learning Visual Basic, like macros, for example, to automate my expense distribution spreadsheet.
So that was just in Excel.
Just was in Excel. Exactly. That was just first time kind of looking at syntax, first time seeing what automation can do for you? And that's me getting curious about this. That's me, that C4 saw that in me, and I'm so grateful. And then I was able then to talk to our VP of IT, still super grateful for taking me on with zero experience and kind of bringing me on to the team and be like, all right, well, here you go. You want to play with this now? They're like, here's opportunity.
So you have this accounting background, repetitive tasks, really starting to see a problem that needs to be solved. You start working on it, but you switch to IT. You still have a strong love of accounting.
I would say I have a love for accounting. I would say no. I never had a love for accounting. To be I
Oh, what? It was a means to an end. That's what
That's
it
right.
was?
That's right. My mom used
Okay.
to tell me, you need to get education, something practical if you don't want to mop the floors. So that's why I chose accounting. And then I thought, well, I kind of figured out what I really like to do. I like to automate processes. I like to problem solve. And yeah, and that's what I like to do.
Okay, so now to take us from where you are, you've painted this great picture. Now your current company, your startup, comes into the picture. How did that happen?
Absolutely. So I kept growing in my field as a data analyst. And um, during COVID, what happened? I got laid off. And then I started looking at freelancing. I was like, well, let me take a look at this, maybe see I can apply everything that I know so far and help business owners to automate their systems, help them with the financial reporting, maybe like the analytics. And little by little, I started applying for jobs on Upwork, for example. I remember I still remember my first client. And my first client, because I was like, all right, well, what do I know? I know Yardi well. So let me try to help Yardi users, business owners that use Yardi in business automate things. And I remember first one that it was a commercial property down in, I think down the south. And they hired me and I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. This is really happening. And I remember I got so scared. I was like, what if I cannot do what they're asking me? And they pay money for me because before you have a team. In a corporate world, there's a team, there's a manager that you can ask for the reviews you work. Here, you kind of own your own, you provide the expert knowledge. But I'm so happy that I took that client on because things will work out well. I was able to put his process in place, his property management company in place, trained his stuff as well. And after that, I just kept going. I just kept, and now that I have one project in my Upwork, I have now another clients coming in, another client. Some of my clients are still with me since I started this journey. Um, so then I got a full-time job and it kept both working. But in 2023, when 2023, I was working till 2 o'clock in the morning because I was working full-time job. And plus I was also had this, my business on the side. And that's where it just was not working anymore. And I decided to kind of go all in my business. So I've been doing now full-time data analytics and AI since 2023.
You said, I'm going to go all in, do my own thing.
Yes. Omadli group. Yes.
Tell us about the formation of it and what is the problem that you're focusing this whole company on?
Absolutely. So Omadli Russian lucky in Uzbek. So my husband came up with that name. My husband is American. So she thought, you know what? This is a great name. I'm like, absolutely.
Hi, the podcast you are listening to is a companion to my recent book, Tech Startup Toolkit: How to Launch Strong and Exit Big. This is the book I wish I'd had, as I was founding and running 8 startups over 35 years. I tell the unvarnished truth about what went right and especially about what went wrong. You could get it from all the usual booksellers. I hope you like it. It's a true labor of love. Now back to the show.
But so what we're focusing on, business owners. Actually, this year we started looking at our niche. And I was like, oh, the niche is staring right in my face. The whole time I was helping construction adjacent business owners to streamline their processes, to measure their success and show them leakage in their business, basically streamline the entire business operations and help them to make more money. So I started focusing on construction adjacent business owners that use yarding, that run trade companies. So now we do AI agents. We have several AI agents that we have built to help busy business owners to navigate through the time of the AI to help them increase their productivity, make them more money, and scale their business.
Did you start from scratch and build your own AI completely, or are you basing this on one of the existing, large language models or?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm no means want to compete with Sam Altmans of the world and Elon Musk. So I'm using current models that are out there, large language models, and I'm now fine tuning them to the specific role. Let's say in construction, if it's a receptionist that's trained to pick up the calls to make sure that all the plumbing or all the flooring or let's say all the roofing related or electrical related responses are being handled properly. That's where I'm using, for example, that's just one use case. Nowadays, I'm also decided to I also decided to launch my AI coaching business. Why? Because I've noticed there's so many people, there's so many business owners with amount of AI news that's happening that don't know what to use. And right now is a time where you can utilize, don't even need agents, right? We can utilize, for example, Claudes and OpenAI models. There are different models that they have. Or we can utilize Perplexity AI, Gemini. And then now you can use those as a almost for every job in your business to help you to streamline it, to help you to get ideas, to help you to even generate additional revenue as well, if you set them up properly.
Mm-hmm.
That's right now, it's almost with AI, the shift is where you don't need large teams to scale your business. You can just use AI agents, set them up, and now you have these virtual employees that now can act on your behalf and perform tasks much faster, much more consistently.
I would use it even in the case of the book, but I was very, very, careful. They wanted 3 bullets at the beginning of every chapter that summarized that chapter. Perfect use of AI for the writing process. But if you asked it to write a paragraph within the book, they have algorithms that are so good, they could detect that you did that.
Oh, the publishing company has an algorithm that detects if it's so also for like Ivy League schools or some universities can also detect if essays were written with
Yeah.
artificial intelligence tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is this is a very interesting conversation topic because I could see how the latest video from Veo, for example, is a Google tool that does beautiful videos for advertisement for social media just with one prompt, right? And they collect the data all across the internet to come up with data samples so they can create these beautiful outputs for you. And another thing that I just recently read, for example, Taylor Swift, the singer, she just bought out all her work back to herself. She did.
Yeah.
She,
I saw that.
yeah. And the entire reason why she did that, because she wants to have ownership. She doesn't want someone to get a hold of her stuff and regenerate things on in an unlimited way, in the unlimited copies. And that's very strategic move.
She's a very smart businesswoman. I specialize in making mistakes, but that's sort of what this book is. This book is about 9 startups over 37 years. What are the mistakes? Some of them were disastrous mistakes, and some were just, little things. Startups can't actually afford too many mistakes because you don't have much time. You're burning cash, and you may be burning someone else's cash if you're getting investor money.
Yes.
And so what I'm trying to do with the book and with this podcast, through guests like you, and soon with my online course, which is launching today, is to share those mistakes, because other people learn really well from hearing what was the situation, what was the mistake, what should you have done. So can you think of one thing, a mistake you made? Obviously it was recoverable because you're still going strong. Speaking to our listeners who are, a lot of them are startup founders themselves.
100%. I think one thing that I didn't do, so my startup is not funded by anyone. It's just me right now. Having ability with service company. So I have 2 companies. I have a startup company that does pure development, and I have a service company. So service companies, there's a framework. It's called business pyramid strategy, basically, where you learn everything in a service. And then after you learn, basically you get paid to build these custom solutions. and you get paid to learn and build solutions for your clients. Then after that, you see what is really working. What do people really need? Now, how can you productize that knowledge now? So it's much more repeatable, it's less custom, and it's helped you to scale as well. So
And
one
it's
of
high margin.
and that has a high margin because doing custom is very hard. It every time is learning new system or it's every time there's new problem. And also it's really hard to figure out who's your ideal customer profile is. And there's all time and energy goes into that. But I also feel like sometimes maybe it's a part of the process, starting you and trying to figure this whole thing out. And I would say the things that I've done is doing it all by myself and not putting the marketing early on. Marketing, what I mean by this is all of us have phones and internet and just recording the process, getting on social media, sharing the process. Either it's talking about your business, talking about the services that you do, talking about maybe products that you do, and sharing with the world how you're serving and what works, what doesn't work, and not being scared of it. I've realized that I kind of done a lot of things on kind of backstage, just, working with the customers or building these services, but not really like package them well into, let's say, case studies and convert these case studies into content and to maybe post and just starting to talk about your business. And that would ultimately will help other customers to hear what you're doing, but it will also inspire other business owners as well to see, oh, like this is what's possible. These are the, for example, things to avoid, or these are the things that it's kind of provides a value in terms of what works, what doesn't, and what could be achieved. And at the same time, makes you better as well. I figure out that social media right now is just such a huge opportunity. It's like a great platform for you to yap about your business and the things that you do. It's like a free advertisement. And a lot of times there's a lot of, I would say when I started, there was a lot of fear around it in terms of, oh, like, how do I sound? How do I look? What if I say something that isn't correct and it's going to be there forever? I'm going to damage my brand. But at the same time, it's like your brand is, you're not trying to steal anybody's money. You're trying to grow and show what you're working on, and you learning as an entrepreneur and as a professional as well. You're sharing with the skills that you've learned. I think if I started that journey, because it all takes reps, I would have failed fast. I think just like I love what you're saying, the key is failing fast, pushing through your mistakes, because pushing through your mistakes and you also your fears. Every time you're like, oh, I can't do a reel. Now you do a reel. Well, great. And now that reel is so bad. Like I don't even have, I'm not even packaging, not delivering. I'm not communicating my value to my potential customers in a way that it's clear to them. Well, okay, how can you now make it better? And that rep 1, rep 2, rep 3, rep 4, and it takes so many reps to get comfortable in your own skin and your own voice.
Let's cover one more important topic about you. When I think about this young girl from a small town in Uzbekistan, decides that she's got to go to school in the United States to not mop floors. Okay. And has to apply to all these places. You're sending in all these things which require an application fee with nothing.
Right.
You get in and you go to what the person on the plane said was godforsaken Iowa, and you thrived there. Then you got a job. You moved to Massachusetts. To get to my point, you, like every other startup founder I've ever met, has a lot of grit. And where do you think your grit comes from?
I think growing up in low middle class family, I think also sometimes nobody will want to even have electricity or hot water. I still don't remember that. And it's funny, when I came to Iowa, I remember our coordinator picked me up from the airport, from Zulfiya airport, and we're driving, and I see all the fields that I had. First question I asked, do these people have hot water and electricity? It looks at me, I was like, what do you think this is? They don't have internet. So I remember that vividly. And I think I try to push myself hard because I've seen my mom work really hard. I think I have very strong women in my life. My mom is an accountant. She's a controller. And all my life, I've seen her take multiple, commute like buses and train stations and feed us, make us food, and also at night. I still remember that before I go to bed, I would see her sitting on my desk and working. And I remember that vividly. And I think it's just how much she pushed herself. And then my grandma was also like that as well. So I have a very strong women in my life that push the boundaries to achieve great things. And I just can't work with them.
That is a great story. And I hope they watch this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for your time and these great stories. I think we made a nice episode here.
Thank you, Jothy, for having me. Thank you.
Tool number 1, start marketing from day one. Don't wait until your product is perfect to start talking about it. Document your journey, share your process, and create content around what you're building. Social media isn't just free advertising, it's your testing ground to fail fast and refine your message. Every post is a rep that makes you better. Tool number 2, use the service to product pipeline. If you're building something new, start with custom services first. Get paid to learn your customers' real problems, then identify patterns in what works. This approach lets you validate demand while generating revenue. Then productize your knowledge into scalable, higher margin solutions. You'll retain more ownership of your company doing it this way as well. Tool number 3, channel your origin story into grit. Your background isn't a limitation, it's your competitive advantage. Whether you grew up watching your mother work multiple jobs, or you're the first in your family to start a business, that foundation gives you resilience that privileged founders often lack. When times get tough, remember what you've already overcome. Those are your tools. Now go build something amazing. And that's our episode with Zulfiya. The show notes contain useful resources and links. Please follow and rate us at podchaser.com/designing successful startups. Also, please share and like us on your social media channels. This is Jothy Rosenberg saying, TTFN, ta-ta for now.